what's happening in housing market of Greenville, North Carolina.
We're going to get to that after the intro, but first let's hit it. Hi, it's Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast and YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and get notified.
I click calls text all the time, 252-327-3357. We love talking to you. Do not be shy. Also, don't forget to get our buyer's guide and seller's guide in the description below because that's chock full of information. Now, let's get to what we promised, which is the Greenville market and what is going on here.
And exactly, and this is the month of the September. That's why we wanted to unpack lots of materials and hopefully give you some insight if you are home buyers or home sellers, no?
Right, so let's just dive into this data so you can really get a really clear picture of what is happening in our market, because we hear all these crazy scare news about all these other stuff that's happening all over the country and the rise of the $1 million homes and all that, but this was what I was reading this morning. But however, what's happening in Greenville is a very different story than what I would read on the national news. So without that, let's hit it now.
And as we know, everything is about demand and supply.
Absolutely.
And that's why we wanted to talk about a little bit in the beginning of this video, inventory. And in August 2023 that we finished it, we had 137 homes active, and a month before in July we had 127, and respect to the last year was 157. We had 12.7% of decrease, no?
From inventory from last year. Now, with pending sales, this is more interesting because that still means there was 125 pending homes in this last month that just happened. The month before that, there was only 96. Most people like to move before the school year just so we have an understanding. But then we look at last year's data and we see 113. So we see there was actually an increase of 10.6% of pending homes. So while inventory has gone down, contractual contracts have gone up.
Inventory actually is the
decrease.
Sum of the active and under the contract on pending,
right,
which basically brings us to 262 homes as a inventory in the months of August and 223 homes in months of July. And respect to the last year of 270, we actually decreased almost 3%.
Very interesting. Now, when we look at the inventory rate, that gives us what he's talking about, active plus pending divided by sold, gives us a rough down and dirty number of how much inventory is in the market. And a lot of this inventory is new construction. But either way, we look at that number, what he just said, 266 divided by the 102 sold, we get 2.57 months of supply is in the market right now in Greenville.
And if you compare this number with the month of July that was a while ago, 2.97 months, we definitely decrease our inventory. And also respect to the last year, definitely 2.31 months, we have 11% increase.
Now, when I look into this data, maybe we should be adding a number of how many active homes are new construction, because that would really, really be a telling number. Because what I see when I look at my MLS all the time is that actually there is a big decrease in the amount of homes that homeowners own and are staying in their homes. What's happening is our supply is a lot of new construction in our area, which is why we have that 2.57
well, we say it
months.
usually when we say inventory.
And I want to point out, maybe we should add that number in there just so we can see it next time. But anyway, when we look at the average days on the market, which is what we're going to talk about, it seems like it's slower, but don't forget, when it comes to new construction, they put into the MLS almost when it's dirt and nothing is there.
Exactly.
So right now it looks like 39 days on the market. Market's getting slower, but the truth is there's a lot of new construction in our market right now.
And the last one was 75 days, and August 2022 was 11 days.
When we had way less new construction in that market.
Exactly. Therefore, now what we wanted to do, basically talk about a little bit of a price. No?
Okay, we want a price.
And that's why also many of you understand what's going on, what is the average in the market. And basically, list price is the one that the seller wish for, and sale price is that it sells. Therefore, don't get scared when the numbers are different.
Okay, so medium list price in August 2022 is $288,740.
Exactly.
I get you new construction for that price. But the medium list price, the medium sales price was $250,250, which is interesting.
And in month of July and months before that, August, 290, 140 actually was the lease price, and 290 was a sale price. And if you compare it with the last year, that we had $300,000 actually for the lease price and $255,000 for the sold price, we are still looking at the decrease of 3.75 and 1.86 for the sold houses.
Okay, now that again, there's a lot of new construction in this area, so it's kind of messing with all of these figures. But anyway, let's talk about price per square foot for new versus pre-owned homes, because again, it gives us a down and dirty number of what your home might be worth.
Exactly.
And the first number we're going to talk about for me, how much is new, by the way? New is mostly single family.
Basically, the median home for the all type of homes, including the condo, townhouses, and single family
I said new construction for you.
And 164.
Okay, perfect. For me, pre-owned homes, which is what he was saying, townhomes, condos, and all of that, that's 141. However, when we look at the single-family home only, this is a very different number. What is single-family home for?
Single-family home for the new, it still is $164.
But if you're in a pre-owned home, you're in your home already, you're looking at an average price per square foot of $151 a square foot. And realtors really look at the end of the day, we care about this number more than anything else. How much is your square foot? How much is the average monthly house being sold for? And this is a down and dirty number of what we can actually sell your house for. Of course, your house is going to be different because you have stuff that we're not counting in there that needs to be accounted for. But, that's the start. How many price reductions?
The price reduction actually was 31 homes, which won 72.2% up respect to the previous months in months of July. And sold to listed ratio, that shows how fast is the market respect to that comes to the market and sells in the market, was 183 to 124, and almost 48% decreased.
Okay, so when we look at new construction and we look at how much is inventory is in the market, we have a very different new construction versus previously owned monthly supply. How much is there? So for monthly supply of new construction with the month that just passed, we had 2.1 supply of new construction in the Greenville area. I can show you where they are if you want to see them. Previously owned homes is actually only 0.8. What about last month?
Last month actually was the same numbers, 2.1 for the supply for the new construction, 0.8% for the pre-owned, and totally really we have 1 month of supply for whole Greenville, North Carolina. And that's why we need at least three to 6 months to go shift to the market that has a normal inventory.
Now, let's talk at the mean. What is median versus mean?
The median versus mean is like, if you wanted to, mean is you basically average it over the, if you have a 5 number, that's what you average.
So it's more weighted, the mean?
More weighted, yeah.
Okay, so the mean home, which is like a weighted depending on, so the shacks aren't, the $1 million mansions aren't taking over everything, is going to be $227,093 for all homes in the area. What about last month? Last
month actually was $226,705, which means year over year change appreciation was 7.6%.
Which is great. So, I mean, that means if you're in a home, you've seen a 7.6% appreciation of your home, which is, awesome. Now, let's talk about median rent. Median rent right now is $1,400 in Greenville.
For all the bedrooms. This is the average from 1 bedroom all the way to 4 or 5 bedroom. This is $1,400, and it's still the rent is a warm market around the Greenville, North Carolina.
Okay, so that means for $1,400, you should, if you can pay just a little bit more than $1,400, you should definitely be thinking about getting a home, because there's no point, because rents always increase. And it's better just to get in a house and that you can afford and pay off that mortgage over time. I mean, it's just financial sense.
Now, that is the exciting part. That's where we want to crunch all this data, because we throw at you lots of statistics. We said lots of increase, decrease, appreciation, depreciation. Now we wanted to talk about a little bit about all the crunch data, what we think that comes from the data.
We're going to wrap through this fast. Okay, so for buyers, you should be acting fast, because while we said 39 days on the market, I also told you a lot of it is new construction. So, and a lot of people have trouble visualizing new construction until it's more put together. So when you find something you love, you need to be able to act fast, which means we definitely need to get pre-approved. We need to be ready for this market, because you can't just, like a house and then go get pre-approved after you like a house. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly. And now we wanted to talk about the lease price. Lease price, of course, respect to the months of July to the August. definitely changed 3.75 and sold price 1.57. That means that you need actually to do some research, meaning that your real estate agent definitely need to run some comps for you, understand exactly this house is the house of the week that everybody wanted, or there is a place that you can go a little bit down or over.
Probably not, but I mean, it happens once in a while. So construction, new construction, there's a lot of new construction. If you can just consider new construction, you can afford new construction, I would recommend it because you're going to get everything new. You're going to get a new roof. You're not getting a new HVAC, so you're not walking into problems that you don't know about, which is always a lovely thing. Moving on to that, price per square foot. We told you for single family homes, $151 a square foot. There was
164 for the
for
brand
new construction. Make sure that you have kind of, explored your options before you make a purchase, but make sure when you are ready, be decisive. What about the financing options?
And the financing, actually, what we're talking about, the appreciation of 7.6%, it tells you every second that you take an action is going to be in your benefit because you're investing in something that is long term, is going to be a pure good investment.
Okay, now if you're a home seller and you're thinking, now is a good time to sell my house. I mean, there's not a lot of inventory, so your house is going to look amazing. So let's talk about it. You need to price it competitively.
Exactly.
You need to make sure you know what the median list price, you know what the mean list price, and you price to attract the buyers. The second thing is you have to prepare to negotiate sometimes. If you have this high demand of my house is worth $1 million, but your house is really only worth $500,000, if you're not willing to negotiate, your house is just going to sit on the market.
I mean, that was extreme.
It was, but I made it that way on purpose.
Basically, what we said, you need to run the comps and also make sure that dirty number that we told you, that could be your base. That's how you can do some calculation.
Another thing to think about is make sure that you're telling us, your real estate agent, what the best features of your home are. That way we can make sure we are putting that in the listing. Maybe we'll put that as the front page picture. If we need to know what is your best feature, we don't live there. We can see what generally people like. But if you tell me that your backyard has a special thing about it that I didn't know about, well, you need to tell me what's amazing about this house so I can highlight that. What another thing is...
And consider really the timing in the market. Right now, the market, actually, we have, as we said, in a whole Greenville, we have 1 month of supply. Therefore, is it still a good time for you as a home seller to get your house in the market and get the top dollar for your house.
And last thing we're going to talk about is staging your home. Make sure your home looks amazing. If you do not put your laundry away, people see the laundry and say, this is a disaster. Why didn't they put their laundry away? Why would I buy this house? They don't take care of it. Why? Because they saw your laundry. Not because the house isn't amazing. It's just we need to make sure we are staging correctly. We need to make sure it looks beautiful and inviting to the public so they can see your home. And yes, I have seen people's underwear in laundry before.
I hope you love this Greenville housing market in September. We are here for you. Don't forget to call us at 252-327-3357 if you're a home buyer or home seller in the area or out of state. And support our channel and podcast by subscribing in it, and looking forward in the next time that we see